Hello and welcome to Sit and See Live. I'm Dr. Jared Jones. I've been a practicing Buddhist for about 20 years, meditating almost every day. Done a few retreats. My teachers in a couple of my lineages authorized me to teach. And I also have a PhD focusing on ancient systems of meditation, in particular Buddhism, as well as a bit of cognitive science, the philosophy of science, and a few other things. Uh, in any case, welcome to Sit and See Live. If this is your first time, what we do is ask questions about meditation. Good evening, Cleric. It was good chatting with you on the phone yesterday. I've got a different mug today. This is my catacomb mug. My wife and me got at the catacombs. So, yes, if this is your first time on Sit and See Live, the nature of the session is that we hang out together, have a bit of community time, talk to each other. I do my best to answer questions based upon a combination of quite serious study and practice over a long period of time. I still have my other mug, I promise. I promise. Did anybody get a kick out of me putting the mug into the graphic for the most recent video? uh, anyways, yes. So today we're going to be meditating on the six sense gates, which is one of the most profound meditations techniques I've ever been taught. It builds on from training in concentration on the breath and training in moving concentration, you could say, on the tactile body through body scanning, and culminates in terms of tactile awareness, which is where the first two meditation techniques I teach live. It culminates in resting in the nature of tactile awareness without any particular point of concentration, which is a much, much more profound type of meditation than simply resting on an object or alternating through objects by selecting them one by one. From there, what we do is then focus on each of the other sense gates, each of the other ways in which you experience the world, the gates through which you have experiences. And you learn to make each one of those non reactive to the world. So it doesn't matter if something pleasant appears, it doesn't matter if something unpleasant appears. For the duration of the meditation, you can allow that type of consciousness to simply rest in its most basic nature, which is to be aware of stuff. And once the five external senses are resting in their own nature of simply being aware of stuff, to put it in colloquial terms, then it becomes much easier for you to turn the mind inwards because the mind isn't distracted by five different hooks pulling it in five different directions from the outside. Now all you have to deal with is whatever's appearing before the mind. So the next technique is finally the technique that everyone else teaches from day one, which I don't think anyone can do from day one, is resting on the flow of what's happening in your mind. Once the five external senses are non-reactive, then it's way easier to focus on what's the actual flow of images and thoughts and memories and intentions and so forth that's occurring in your mind. Way easier. Way easier. So then once you can do this, you'll start to see gaps. You'll see gaps where you're aware of something occurring in consciousness, and then there's nothing occurring in consciousness. And your mind is, for a short time, just resting in pure awareness. And this is very difficult to put into words, so I'll do my best to put it into analogy. When you close your eyes, you are aware that you're not seeing anything. You're aware of darkness. You're aware of the absence of light. You're aware that your eyes still have the potential to see because, in an important sense, they're seeing the absence of light, or that consciousness is generating an image or an experience of nothing appearing here, right? So in the same way, When you get to mental consciousness, very difficult, much more subtle, because your mind wants to move around. It really does. But when you get gaps between mental content and the five senses start to pull in, start to recede, start to gray out, and more of your bandwidth has been absorbed into mental consciousness, being aware of its own activities. When this has occurred and you start to find gaps, then you'll be aware that there is simply awareness present, ready to know something, but that it isn't knowing anything in particular, right? And in that condition, you're resting in pure awareness, pure consciousness, at least at sort of a beginner level. And that's the level that I'm comfortable teaching. There may be much, much, much more profound levels, but if you can do that much, then you can do, I mean, if you could do that much, it would transform the rest of your life. So at that point, go find a lineage with a great Zen master or a great Theravadan practitioner and go the rest of the way, because you need some retreat and you need some other things to go further. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing today for anyone who was curious. Questions before we begin? Les catacombs. It's same message, different package. Right. So I'm not seeing questions come in. I know I have Cleric in the room. I'm not sure who else is here. Maybe... Yeah. That's not true. I got a bag. I got a fridge magnet. I got an existential sense of dread. I got a lot of things while I was there. Okay, my friends, comrades, colleagues on the path, let's do some practice together. So find some comfortable way to be. I don't care really if you're sitting, laying, or standing, as long as your spine is relatively straight. At this stage of the game, I would say it'll be easier to do it laying down or seated. And laying down, you might fall asleep, so seated is the best position. It's a new old cup. So assume your position, and we'll get started. I wonder if you can hear that through the microphone. Do you hear the whole room shake when I let my shoulders go? Okay, so we're going to begin. So let's start with a very short meditation on the breath into a body scan. From the body scan, we'll go straight into probably 6 directions into resting on tactile, and then I'll take it from there. I'll decide on how far I think we need to go with the other ones before we go to consciousness, because I'd like to get to consciousness today and spend some time there. Okay? Bring your awareness to the breath, so breathe in with some sound, some energy, just to find out where the feeling of tactile sensations will be strongest. Find a patch of skin inside the nostril where these sensations are strongest and focus there with great intensity as if your life depends upon it. Pull your entire being into that one patch of skin. Observe without analysis, without imagination, without mental labeling. Simply observe, merely be aware of the tactile sensations. Ready? Begin. Bring your awareness to the left foot. I'm going to do bigger pieces of the body today. So just try to get more of your awareness to pool, more of the bandwidth of your awareness to pool in whatever area I'm mentioning. And we're going to spend a little bit more time on each area. So left foot. The left ankle. the lower half of your left calf. The upper part of your left calf. Your left knee. The lower half of your left thigh. The upper half of your left thigh. Into your left hip. Into your right foot. Right ankle. Into your right, lower part of your right calf. The upper part of your right calf. the right knee. The lower part of the right thigh. The upper part of the right thigh. Into your right hip. Bring your attention now to the front of the pelvis. Move your attention to the back of the pelvis. Bring your attention to the sacrum. Slide down to the tailbone. Bring all your awareness into the tailbone. Now bring that awareness forward to the anus. Perineum. And take your time scanning the sexual organ. When you finish scanning the sexual organ, come to rest at the tip of the organ. Okay, now bring your awareness back through the organ, back to the perineum, and bring your awareness up through the pelvis and up to the front of the waist. and around to the back of the waist, including the sides of the waist. Bring your awareness up to the diaphragm belt in the front. And the diaphragm belt in the back. To the chest in the front. And the chest in the back, not including the shoulder blades underneath the shoulder blades. Now your shoulder on the left-hand side. Bicep region. Elbow. Forearm. The left wrist. And the left hand. in its entirety. Right shoulder. Right bicep. Right elbow. Right forearm. Right wrist. The right hand in its entirety. The upper third, excuse me, the lower third of the neck. Keep the lower third engaged. Add on the middle third of the neck. Keep the first 2/3, add on the upper third of the neck. And hold the whole neck. Bring the awareness now to the joint between the skull and the neck. The scalp on the back of the head. Matter of fact, just do the scalp left side, back, and right side. So everything except for the top of the scalp. Now move your awareness to the forehead. And very quickly, the whole left side of your face, including all the sensory organs. The whole right side of your face, including all the sensory organs. The top of the skull. And from there, bring your awareness to the tactile sensation of your eyes. So just focus all of your tactile awareness on your actual physical eyes. Not yet the visual field. On your ears. on your nose. On your tongue. And keep the eyes closed. Take a short mental break. Keep your awareness 50 or 60% in the exercise. If you need to do some circles to release bodily pain or to get blood flow back into your legs, that's fine. But move slowly and keep your mind in tactile awareness. Okay, bring the awareness now to the 5 points. Top of the head, hands, feet. Release the 5 points, bring the awareness to the front. As I name the rest of the directions, add them on until you have all 6. The back, the left, the right, up, down. Hold the 6 points, hold the 6 directions rather. Keeping 20 to 30% of your awareness in the body. Slowly, slowly open the eyes. We're going to add vision and tactile together. So 30% in the body, 70% on vision while we establish vision. Gaze to the front. Bring the awareness to everything to the front in vision. Now everything to the back, in other words, everything that's close to vision. Adding on everything to the left, to the right, and hold 6 directions with vision without losing the body. Keeping about 50% of your awareness on tactile and vision. Turn your attention to hearing and give it at least 50% of your awareness while you establish hearing. So hear everything to the front, back, left, right, up, down. keeping about 60% of your awareness in those three senses. Use the main focal point of your awareness to turn to smell and open the smell sense gate, the olfactory gate, to the front, to the back, in other words, everything close up, and behind you, to the left, to the right, up, down. Refresh those four senses together. Front, I'll guide you through it actually. To the front, tactile, vision, hearing, smell. To the back, tactile, vision, hearing, smell. To the left, tactile, vision, hearing, smell. To the right, tactile, vision, hearing, smell. Above you, tactile, vision, hearing, smell. Below you, tactile, vision, hearing, smell. Keeping 75% of your awareness or so on the four gates, turn your main focal point of attention to your tongue. Taste everything to the front, back, left, right, uppermost, lowermost. All five senses. Don't scan them individually, just mentally intend front, back, left, right, up, down. Now just relax your awareness ever so slightly and rest as best you can with all five gates open without holding any points. Small amount of instruction on how to make that transition. Just sit there and don't do anything. If you notice that your mind is trying to do something, you've lost the object. So just sit without doing anything. quickly refresh the 5 gates without using the points, just tactile, vision, sound, smell, taste, and gently pull back to doing nothing. Abide in the nature of consciousness in terms of the 5 external senses. Take a short break. Keep your awareness 50-60% in tactile body in particular. Try not to look around too much. Try not to stimulate yourself. Keep the mind at least half in the practice. If you need to stretch your legs, do so very slowly. Get the blood back into them. It might be painful, but maintain the same quality of awareness that you have now. So we'll take a few minutes break, and then we'll return to finish our day with abiding on consciousness itself. Okay. Bring the awareness back into the body. Open vision. Sound. Smell. Taste. Now take your awareness, pull it away from the five external senses. You can close your eyes if you need to, or make your eyes sort of mostly closed just so a little bit of light comes in. And turn your awareness towards the flow of conceptual thoughts, mental images, memories, intentions, motivations, whatever else happens to appear as mental content in the mind. But be highly aware that anything that appears in the actual tactile field, or auditory field, or visual field, or smell field, or taste field, none of those are the object of meditation. Now that we're turning to consciousness, the object of meditation is mental content only, or consciousness itself. So if anything else pulls your attention away from consciousness or the contents of consciousness, then you've lost the object of concentration. So this is quite difficult, but we've done some work to make the external senses less reactive. So begin pulling your mind inwards. The easiest way to draw it inwards is just to turn your attention towards whatever happens to be appearing in the mind. Don't try to place your mind anywhere in space or inside the body. Don't imagine where it is. Just try to become aware of the contents of your mind. That's all. I'm going to remind you also that while you're doing this, don't try to control what appears there. Don't try to stop anything from appearing. Don't follow it and chase it and add to it either. So don't judge what's occurring there, whether it's good or bad. Doesn't matter. Your mind should be like a mirror, just like with the other five senses. choiceless, decisionless, without judgment, non doing, intentionless, motivationless. It is simply existing in a state of observing the contents of awareness. And if nothing appears there for a period of time, then it simply rests in a state of readiness, ready to become aware of whatever might appear without anticipating it and without holding on to what just happened previously. In brief, rest in the nature of consciousness by doing nothing. Okay. Take a moment. Tactile, vision, hearing, smell, taste. Okay. Questions? Comments? Concerns? Besides me having a new mug? Well, everyone has been stunned into silence. If any of you regulars made it this far, I believe we went over an hour today. So, if you made it to the end or close to the end, you can see how using the different techniques, you can go from your ordinary day-to-day state of mind, which is not very concentrated or profound, to getting the mind in very, very quickly using the breath, to getting the mind more calm and the body less restless and more comfortable using body scanning, to resting in the nature of consciousness, at least with tactile consciousness, which again makes the whole system very calm from the level of the body. And if you can do that, then even physical pain will feel less painful and you'll feel less need to move around. So this is very helpful for then doing the other senses so that the body is less of a distraction. So then you do vision, because we're extremely visual creatures. So if you can control your mind not reacting to vision, you can calm the system down even more. And then same thing after vision is auditory. You calm that down, then you can get even calmer. And then all that's left is smell and taste. And smell and taste, unless there are strong smells and tastes in your environment, they're not very reactive most of the time. So that's just completing the process. Then, having rested in those and made those less reactive, then you turn the mind in towards itself. And then you can rest in a state of non-doing, or at least where the only doing is the attempt to rest in a state of non-doing, where you're being aware of whatever occurs without judging it, without analyzing it, without adding to it or subtracting from it. Then, having done this, you'll get gaps. You'll get gaps where there's content, thinking, images, memories, intentions, motivations, and then there's nothing. And then there's a bunch of stuff again, and then there's nothing. And then the mind jumps to the different senses for a little while, and then there's stuff again, and then there's nothing. And the gaps will get bigger and bigger over time. And your concentration on consciousness itself will get more profound over time. And hopefully, as I was discussing with one student last night over the phone, what will happen is eventually you'll get an experience of each one of the external five senses being non-dual with their objects, which sounds quite mystical, but really what it means is that you have a direct experience of something that we know from cognitive science, which is that your mind is the thing generating the image you're experiencing as the external world. There is an external world, but your experience of the world is generated by your consciousness, not by the world. So when you get some conceptual thought out of the way, it will become clear to you that vision is something produced on your side. So that what this means is the mind that is knowing the visual field and the stuff that's being known by the vision, in other words, visual objects, are actually one entity. They're one thing. Ah, good, good, good. Glad to hear that. So next, also hearing, same thing. Bang, you get an experience of the non-duality of hearing, of smell, of taste, of touch, and then ultimately get a non-dual experience of consciousness and the contents of consciousness, and then also an experience of consciousness without content. And through each one of these deepenings of your experience, you gain more and more insight into what am I? What exactly am I as a being? What are the things that are actually making me up, and how is this whole unit put together? You gain direct experiences of this. You don't have to take the Buddha's word for it, or Lao Zhe's word for it from the Taoist tradition, or Ming Yi from the Taoist tradition. You don't have to take my word for it, certainly. Some person on the internet. If you do this, you'll gain the experiences, and then you go, oh yes, of course. My visual faculty is what generates vision. And then why is this important? This is important because eventually, if you want to do vipassana, vipassana, which is special insight meditation, where your mind is penetrating the nature of reality, first you need to know what reality is made of. If you're penetrating just fantasy, if you're cutting up just fantasy, that's not going to help very much. It'll help somewhat. But what's much more profound is to learn how to mentally actually divide up and look into what's actually there, see how it exists. And then once you realize, oh, wow, this is how it exists, then you rest your mind on the actual fact of how it exists. And that is vipassana. If you want to know the big difference between the Hindu schools and the Buddhist schools, it's this. This is the key difference. The key difference is that, at least from a Buddhist standpoint, and this might not actually be true, there may be some strains of modern Hindu practice, that have either developed this themselves or picked it up somewhere in history, or through cross-pollination with Buddhism adopted it, or like it could be there. I don't actually know for sure, but at least in terms of, if you were asking what is it that makes Buddhism unique, it's this aspect where you don't just rest in the deep concentrations on the stuff that can occur when you dive into the consciousnesses that you have, but you also then learn how to analyze those with both logic and reason and direct non-conceptual observation of each component. Through doing that, you then gain further insight into how they exist that isn't available to you simply by resting on them non-conceptually. This is the critical point. And then it's called vipassana, or the union of shamatha and vipassana, the union of concentrative or stabilizing meditation and analytic meditation, special insight meditation. The union of those is when you use concentration to go through each point of logic or each point of direct observation until you reach the conclusion. Oh, wow, this is how it is. That's how it actually exists. Wow. Then you hold that with concentration. Now you have a union of analysis and concentration. And it's in that union that you can develop the final insights that Buddhist texts say are possible, the actual liberating insights that lead to things like direct realization of selflessness, direct realization of impermanence, direct realization of emptiness. And through this, eventually you gain a state of internal peace that can't be disturbed because you're going to uproot. I probably shouldn't use this analogy, but I like it a lot. It's a bit like Inception, you know? At this level of awareness, everything is so coarse and gross and already sort of manifest that you're just sort of very on the very surface of your mind. And so if you just sort of drop a rock into this ocean of your mind that's already totally frothing and brewing and waves everywhere, it doesn't make very much difference because there's already a bunch of movement and activity on the surface. And so if I just drop this concept of, oh yeah, by the way, you're interdependently existent and therefore empty of inherent existence, it just goes plink into this big rippling, waving, frothing mess and doesn't make very much difference. But in deep concentration, now you've dropped below the surface and it's stable and calm and it's more subtle. And now if you create a vibration here, it's a seismic shock wave that sends out a tsunami, right? And the deeper you go and the bigger movement you create, the more sort of catastrophic it is for the delusions and ignorance that live at the surface of the mind. So a bit like Inception, the subtler mind that you can use to realize this kind of fact or truth about reality, it as the layers of the dream sort of dissolve as you go back up to the surface, you have planted the seed of truth deeper and deeper and deeper in consciousness. Yeah. Well. Well. Does anyone know that reference? Someone's going to look it up and be very disappointed in me. Well. Okay. I think that's probably it. Are there comments, questions, concerns before we call it an evening? Yeah, it's from a movie. Not that kind of question. uh, okay. John, by the way, send me a message on Facebook Messenger. We need to have like a proper phone call soon. Since we've been training together for a while, I like to talk to people and get to know them and see, you know, who are you? What's your real interests? Where do you want to go with this? How much do you want to learn? You know, how serious do you want to be and how hardcore do you want to be or not? You know, I like to know where people are at and what they're doing and where they'd like to go, you know, and that changes, of course, but you've been training with me for a while, so it'd be good to actually talk, you know, to get to know each other properly. Yeah. And for anyone who stumbles upon this later, the same goes for you. You know, the people that train with me, my teacher and me, we spent a lot of time at coffee shops and in his house and in my house. And we did a lot of our training in graveyards and parks and, you know, sometimes public places. So the way that we studied and trained and so forth is just, it's very personal. You know, it's not the sort of formal thing that you're used to with Western teaching or classes, and it's certainly doesn't look very much like most of the quote unquote, oh, I shouldn't say it that way. I don't mean it that way. Like, I have extremely deep respect for all of the various teachers that are teaching Dharma in the West and in other places. But what I mean is, Dharma teaching or teaching of meditation and so forth in the modern context is mostly done from one person to large groups of people. But the way that I was taught was basically 1-to-1, or maybe, 1-to-5 most of the time. So very personal. And I think this is what's missing from a lot of Dharma training settings, is teachers that actually know you, and teachers that are actually helping you figure out how to do these teachings for you in real life, in your circumstances. That's the hardest part. Telling you technically what the 9 stages of concentration are is pretty easy. Teaching you techniques and helping you figure out how to motivate yourself and fit it into your life and work out all the things that are really going to screw you up in your life or not, that'll stop your training from progressing, that's really hard and detailed and personal. So it's important to me that, because I actually want you to succeed. I don't just want you to do okay at this. I want you to really succeed and do well, and to not waste as much time as I did, despite having good teachers. I was a slow student. Maybe I still am. So it's important to me that I talk to you and that you're actually doing well. Yeah. And sometimes that has to do with things that don't seem obviously related to the Dharma and meditation training. So, right. Thank you for coming. Hope to see you again soon. Cheers.